This is the mount. This is one of the signature positions of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yes, other martial arts like judo and freestyle wrestling, they use it as well. But I think it's fair to say that they haven't developed it as much as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has. If I get here, I've shown a lot of domination. I've probably passed this guard, and I've probably held him in side mount and prevented his escape attempts. And then now I've mounted. And now if I hold this, I'm really basically showing him who's boss. Just like in the schoolyard. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, you don't punch. But if you were punching, check this out. I can have gravity on my side. So I can really punch very, very heavily down. Also with ranging, if he's punching up and I'm punching down, my chin is way higher than his arm. And if we change position, he'd be able to hit me and I wouldn't be able to hit him. Unless he's got long, long arms like an orangutan, this is going to be true. Another thing is, even if my face was here, he can't really chamber his punch very effectively. The ground's in the way. So I can hit all the way from up here, and he can hit me from here. Yeah, it would hurt, it wouldn't be pleasant, but it's not going to knock me out, and I can knock him out. So let's look at some of the common variations of mount. This here is regular mount. I'm sitting more or less on his belly. My feet are alongside his hips. My feet are slightly tucked in underneath him. And I'm here. This is a really good position. It does have one small disadvantage though, that if he bridge up, I'm sitting right on the part of his body that moves up and down. So to counter that, I can either move up or I can move down. If I move into high mount, if he gives me the space underneath his armpits, and I slide the knee in, and I slide the knee in, now I'm in high mount, bridge. See? I move up maybe half or a third as much as I was when I was sitting on his hips. Lift up. I'm lifting up only a tiny bit because his chest doesn't move very much. His hips move. I don't care what his hips do. The other option to stabilize against a wildly bucking opponent is to come underneath the head, to lower myself. My legs are either going to grapevine his legs, like this, or I'm going to cross my feet underneath his hips. Here and here, come underneath an arm, either grab here or out here, and either have my legs crossed or grapevine. I should be able to put a lot of weight onto him. The way I do that is by taking the weight off of my knees. We're here, I can hear him exhaling. That means he's bearing my weight. Try this with your training partner. If he's not feeling the pressure of your hips driving into his belly, you're not doing it right. If I am hooking his head, I don't want to be over him here, because if he gets his legs free and he bridges, if my weight's in the middle and my arm's trapped, I can't pull it out. So if I do hook the head, I want my weight to be out here. That way when he bridges, he has to bring my weight all the way over. The other option is to go here and get my head down on this side. Also helping kill the bridge. Here, he can bridge and turn into me, no problem. If I turn his face with my shoulder, bridge into me, no, he can't do it. He gets a free chiropractic adjustment if he tries to bridge into me. So turn the face when you're in low mount. So here's another kind of mount that you should be familiar with. If Don turns onto his side, if he's real small and my legs are long, it doesn't much matter because he can't lift me up. But even here, the weight's beginning to come off my knees. As he turns like here, my weight can be down. As he turns sideways, his hips are broader than they are deep, so my weight has come up. I'm unstable now. I'm going to switch to something that's called either technical mount or triple attack mount, or some people call it three-point mount. Basically, it's 1 foot in the hip, my knee is down by his head, and the other foot is up here. I'll show it to you on the other side. Here, I can attack his arm, I can work the choke, and I can go to his back. If he continues turning, keep on turning, no, away from me. The hooks go in very nicely for rear mount. So we're here, I turn to a three-point mount, he comes back, I go back flat, he goes this way. See how the knee is right behind the head. This is a common error to try doing a 3-point mount here. I want to be up, right behind the head, and generally I want to be hooking the arm. The final kind of mount I want to talk about today is, some people would call it a specialty mount, but it's a great way to put a ton of pressure on his diaphragm. And if you get anything out of today, get this concept that if you're putting a lot of weight on his diaphragm, it's hard for him to breathe, he'll do stupid things to get you off, and he'll get tired faster. So if I can slide one of my knees up, maybe I'm attacking his throat and he brings his hands up to protect, great. Now I have a route to bring my knee up at least level with his ear. I pull his other elbow up and I flip my leg here. I'm not done yet. I've got to rotate a little bit this way. Come under his head and grab my own shin. This is called S-mount because my legs make an S. If I'm doing this right, lifting his head and not having any weight on this knee, all this weight is going on his diaphragm. From here, he might do stupid things like push me away. If he pushes me away, I take the arm bar and I finish him. So we did regular mount, we did high mount, low mount, technical mount, also known as 3-point mount or triple attack mount, and we did S mount. So if I'm mounted, most of the time to transition out of here, I'm going to be going to rear mount. Like I said, if I've got long legs and if the guy isn't that big and he starts to roll, I just follow him. Go ahead, keep on going. And I get my hooks in. Let's roll and show the hooks. Here we go. That's if he's not too big. What I want to avoid there is pinching him with my knees so tight that when he does go, that my knee gets sucked under his body. See how my knee, he roll a little bit and stop? See how my knee is getting sucked under my body here, under his body? So if I just want to do the loose as he rolls, I open my knees a bit and let him roll. But go back. Now, if he's a bigger guy, most of the time I'm going to do that using the triple attack mount. So as he turns, I'm going to turn here. If he insists on keeping on turning, that foot goes in. Go, turn out your back, please. Go the other way. Go here. He's going to roll this way. Triple attack. As he keeps on rolling, get to rear mount. If he's not being obliging and rolling, there are ways that I can force that roll. The simplest way is by getting his arm across his face, coming underneath his head and grabbing here. This is often called a gift wrap, because if we were punching, he's in a lot of trouble here. From here, I can use my chest to turn him. If he won't turn the whole way, or if he won't turn at all, I can switch to the triple attack mount position, and now I launch myself backwards while pulling on this hand. I go here. And that's how I achieve rear mount. I'll show that from a different angle. We're here. I've managed to cross his arm. Maybe if I'm punching him, he covers up. I drop my chest on top of it, and I come under his head and grab his wrist. Now I can either continue using my chest to turn him, but if he knows he's caught, and he doesn't want to do that, I can switch to a triple attack mount, and now I go backwards and I give this a good reef. We're here. Now we end up in rear mount. One other transition that you sometimes do from mount, if he's turning and he's beginning to shove your leg into half guard and you're worried about getting caught in half guard, is you can actually dismount. You can move back down the positional hierarchy in interest of keeping the top position. You bring this foot up and you switch back to knee mount. You can go from knee mount to full mount, but you can also go from mount back to knee mount. Okay, so I'm having a bad day on the mats and he's mounted on me. Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to try pushing him off here. This should be pretty obvious by now why not. I'm totally giving him my arms or high mount. If he just slides his knees up, now I'm in a really bad position. He doesn't even need to swing for the armbar. He can armbar me right there. The other thing I see a lot of people doing is they know a bridge is important for escaping. So they'll bridge and they'll stay bridged. They'll be here, and they'll stay bridged. This does nothing. All this does is burn your energy. You bridge in order to roll him. I'll show that to you later, but don't stay bridged. Try also not to let him entangle your legs with his own legs. Grapevine here, or crossing his ankles underneath your legs. Cross your ankles, please. This makes it really hard to do any of the escapes. If you find yourself here, you're going to start pushing down. Go back. I'm going to take my legs and I'm going to put it down on top of his legs until I open them up and get back to good posture. Get off me, please. Good posture in when you're mounted looks like this. One leg is up. The heel pretty much tight against your bum. You're going to be turned slightly on one side. You don't want to be turned all the way because you're giving him your back. You want this shoulder slightly elevated. You want your hands up, sort of the Home Alone scream position, or you can go here. So 1 or 2. This foot, this is subtle. This leg is straight, but it's turned outwards. You'll see why in a second. This gives him some room to come underneath the leg. This makes it a lot harder for him to come underneath and also opens up one of your primary escapes. I'm going to take the posture, I'm going to bring this leg up, and I'm going to turn my other leg out. I'm going to take this hand and put it across his waist. This is to stop him from coming up, and I'm also grabbing my hands together just to keep this as a stable unit. From here, I'm going to start bringing my knee, lift your foot up please, my knee up towards my elbow. What this does is it moves his foot out at an awkward angle here. So it makes it lighter. It moves it away from underneath his center of gravity. We're here. As it comes up, I pinch it. This pinch is critical because I have to, at some point, either hook it with this leg or hook it here. But initially, this might be all that I have. I'm going to pinch it, and I'm going to turn my hips in to face him. Now I've got this inner hook. If I'm comfortable in half guard, there's lots of half guard techniques I can do here. We talked about some of them before. The foot grab sweep, or I can go back to close guard or half guard or open guard. Let's just show that from a different angle here. We're here. Oh, sorry, mount. We're here, here and here. My legs are in correct posture. I start moving out. I push his leg between my own legs. I turn in. We're here. I hook over. And I go to close guard. Now, obviously, he's going to be fighting you every step of that way. Sometimes you're going to use that technique to put him in half guard and sweep him from half guard. Sometimes you're going to use that technique and get him in your close guard. Sometimes you're going to get it almost, and he's going to dismount and get you in side mount, in which case it's important to be able to adapt and then start using your side mount escapes. The other bread and butter escape from mount that you need to know is the bridge, or the upa. We're here. Donna's mounted. If he's punching me, I need to stop getting hit in the face. So as he's punching me, one thing I can do is protect my face here, but I can bridge, right? As I bridge, especially if he's going crazy with both hands, he has to post his hands in order to avoid getting swept. What I do here is I reach up and I grab his hand. It's kind of like a tie clinch. There are ways that you can wrap his arm here, but actually I find that is dangerous for the fingers, and it's slower. But if his hands are up here, I snap it down to my chest, I step over his foot. Now I've got his hand trapped and his foot trapped. Everything's trapped on one side, and now I bridge a second time. I bridge as high as I can, and then I turn in the direction that I want to take him. So let me show it without a partner here. we're here. Whether he's just sitting up on me or whether he's punching, I'm going to bridge. He puts his hands down. I reach up and I pin it to my chest. I step over the foot and I bridge up and then turn a second time. Do not stay bridged as you're between those two bridges. That'll kill your power and you won't have anywhere to go for the second bridge. Just going to show it again. Maybe at speed, we're here. Let me just, one more thing. When I'm here, I keep my elbows down. I don't want to be here because again, he can just slide his knees up. So even though I'm worried about my face, I'm also worried about him getting a better position and hitting me even harder. So my elbows are down, my hands are up. This helps protect my collars. If he's hunting for my collars to choke me, I can maybe hand fight or grip fight here. I do a bridge, I grab, step over, and I bridge a second time. Be careful here. See, my elbow's a little bit close to being cross center line. If I'm sloppy here, he can swing to an armbar. So if my elbow does end up in that a little bit of a danger zone, what I'm doing is using this knee to pin in. Go for the armbar. See, I'm not allowing his hips to come out here. By using this knee, I'm pinching in. That gives me time to work that back to a good position.